No Man's Sky for Nintendo Switch has been tested with AMD FSR 2.0. Nintendo Switch 2 allegedly runs Unreal Engine 5 with DLSS support. AMD EPYC Venice with Zen6 CPU cores reportedly uses new SP7 socket. And lastly, Intel 14th Gen Raptor Lake Refresh desktop lineup has been leaked.
This is Tech Track.
Okay, firstly we have the No Man's Sky Ecos update. This is the latest patch notes, and according to this patch note, you can get FSR 2.0 support in the Nintendo Switch. So this ex-user Usman Pirzada has reported this, and as you can see, Nintendo Switch visual improvement, and as you can see, it's the Nintendo Switch times AMD Fidelity FX Super Resolution 2. So basically, the Fidelity FX Super Resolution support for Nintendo Switch is here now. And for the first time, we're looking at the first game, which is the No Man's Sky. So basically, this is the first game in Nintendo Switch to get the FSR 2.0 support, which is great. And so we also have more demos that can represent why FSR 2 is good, because obviously this upscaler for handhelds is going to be very much important, because you can have more higher refresh rate or higher FPS games, and No Man's Skies will be the first one to get it in the Nintendo Switch. So as Usman Pirzada quotes here, FSR 2 has landed on Switch with the latest NMS update, huge PQ uplift, and definitely better than native. Just take a look at these jaggies. So basically this is what he's talking about here. This is the native resolution we're looking at here. As you can see, it's pretty much like, obviously the anti-aliasing is pretty bad here, because look at the jag lines. Yeah, kind of makes sense. It's pretty bad. But with FSR 2.0, when you zoom in, look at that. It's pretty smooth, which expected, because FSR 2 does really help with the anti-aliasing here. It has your own anti-aliasing feature, which is the FSR 2 includes. So yeah, it's pretty good. And as for performance, as you can see, the FPS is up by as much as 25%. So also a decent uplift in terms of performance. So yeah, Nintendo Switch and No Man's Sky getting the first FSR 2 update, which is pretty good. Now No Man's Sky, well, already is a pretty good game, and for the Nintendo users, it will be a good experience with the FSR 2, and that's why FSR is superior, because it supports all the consoles and any game that you want, which is pretty good. And as for the console users, that's like really good news. Next up, we have an article from VGC News, and as you can see, it's a source that is saying that Nintendo showed their Switch 2 demos at Gamescom, which wasn't really showed to the many others or the greater mass. But yes, we did get this information that Nintendo showed off their Switch 2 using a demo, which is the Unreal Engine 5 demo, which is probably the Matrix Awakens demo. Let's look into it. So basically, Nintendo has showed off the tech demo for its Nintendo Switch successor, will be the Nintendo Switch 2, and now we already have that. And basically they ran this game. Well, basically it's not a game, it's the, well, we already know, the Unreal Engine 5 demo for the Matrix Awakens. And in here there are some features that Unreal Engine 5 showcases, and Nintendo Switch 2 did ran this. Now we don't really have any footage that shows that it really ran, but we do have this leak information that kind of tells you that Nintendo Switch could be good. Of course, the Nintendo Switch 2, because it's running Unreal Engine 5 and also the Matrix Awakens, and it's a really heavy game. Or I wouldn't say game, it's just a feature showcase. But anyway, it is still running, so that's pretty nice. Now the question is, when will this Nintendo Switch 2 will release? Well, this is what the information we're getting. The second half of 2024 sounds like a realistic release. The second half of 2024, which still has like a year left. So 1 year from now on, we might be getting that. And this information is coming from the Tokyo-based consultant Dr. Serkan Toto. So a credible source, and also as a higher possibility Nintendo Switch 2 will be coming in 2024. Later half, of course. Next up, we have a leak information from Yuki ANS, and as you can see, it's a socket update for the AMD EPYC Venice. And as you can see, AMD EPYC Venice, both SKUs are using this socket here. This is the SP7 socket. We already have SP5 and SP6. Now this is the newer socket we're looking at, is the SP7. And of course, there's the two variants, 12 and 16. So yeah, SP7 is the newest socket that will go with the Venice, which is a Zen6 processor here. Of course, it's a data center based processor, the AMD EPYC Venice. So according to the video card spec list here, as you can see, the code name is Venice 9006, which is the Zen 6 based processor. The release window is 2025 plus, we don't know, probably after 2025 or at the end of the 2025 anytime, we don't know. And yeah, this is the newer update. SP7 is the socket, as I said. SP5 and SP6 were the Gen 5 Turin based processors, which still hasn't been launched yet, so we're already talking about Venice here. It's kind of not really interesting, but still we already have the information, so let's look into it anyway. And yeah, the maximum memory channels would be upgraded, which is pretty good, 16C DDR5, so that's nice. But we still have to wait for a long time because 2025 is still yet to come. And lastly, we have the Intel's entire 4th generation Raptor Lake Refresh lineup has been leaked. So according to WCC App Tech, we have the whole lineup now. Well, basically this whole lineup was leaked by the Twitter user YukiANS, as you can see already, and later reported by WCC App Tech. So let's look into the whole lineup here. This is the whole lineup. We're looking at the Intel 300, Intel 300T, which is the newer replacement for the Pentium Gold. So interesting. So they're completely revamping the name for the Pentium, and now we have the Intel 300 and 300T, two SKUs for the two cores processor we're looking at here, which is again kind of expected because Pentium was exactly like that. Let's move into something more mainstream, which is the Intel Core i3 parts, or Core i5, Core i7, and Core i9 parts. So in terms of Core i3, we have the 14100, 14100F, and the 14100T. This is the newer, probably the T variant here, which is kind of interesting, which is the lower SKU model. As you can see, it's a 35 watts, so kind of expected because it's clocking at 2.7, whereas the other models are clocking at 3.5. So you can already understand that it's a really lower SKU model. Surprisingly enough, it's still surprised DDR4 and DDR5, which is great, honestly, for good transitioning. Let's look into the Core i5 models. We have multiple of them. As you can see, 14400, the F model, and another 14400, which I believe is the T model, or maybe not, because we already have the T, because that's kind of confusing to me. Because as you can see right here, 14400 already has a 6 performance core and 4 efficiency, but 14400, another 14400, which is again a bit claustrophobic here, right here. Like it's just weird. 6 performance core and 8 efficiency core, so 4 efficiency core increase, but the naming scheme is literally the same, which is confusing here. This is the only confusing part, and it also has been denoted here. I believe only one of them will get released. I don't know, because it's kind of confusing why there's 2 models with the same name but the specs are different, right? Kind of confusing. The 14400F will also be there. Also the similar case, there are 2 variants, which I don't understand why they even did that. Kind of strange, but anyway, 14400T, 14500 and 14500T. So yeah, T models, as you already know, it's a lower SKU, basically lower watt. Not lower SKU, lower watt, I would say. And we also have the 14600, 14600T, 14600K, and the KF. So as expected, the 14600T is a newer addition to this lineup. And all of them are 6 cores, performance cores, and 8 efficiency core based. And the other specs are noted here, so not that exciting, but we do have the 14600K TDP, which is the 125 watts expected anyway. i7 14700, R7 14700T, 4700F, K, and KF, all of the models. Now we do have 25 SKUs all over the place, as you can see, and the only reason it got increased is because of the T series getting into it. As for the i9 models, we have the 4900, the 4900T, F, K, and KF. KF being the top SKU, or K being the top SKU, whatever. Quite interesting enough, we don't have the well, basically the boost frequencies, only the base frequencies. I would like to see the boost because I do want to see. I feel like 4900 KF or K goes up to 6 GHz. That is what the leaked information has told us, but I could be wrong. I feel like that is the case. 6 GHz that will be hitting, but I wonder if any i7 models will be getting close to the 6 GHz. Probably will be, because it is expected. But yeah, this is probably the first time we'll be seeing any processor to hit 6 GHz, or maybe it did already hit, but now, like, you know, in a more consistent base, we'll be seeing more 6 GHz processors here, hopefully. But yeah, this is the whole lineup, 25 SKUs for the Intel 14th generation Raptor Lake Refresh, and it's not that exciting because the performance uplift isn't really there, right? Even though the 14700 series did get some performance increase, and the reason we're getting performance increase is because the efficiency core has been uplifted. So as you can see, it's 8 performance cores and 12 efficiency cores. Previously in 3rd generation, it's 8 performance and 8 efficiency cores. So yes, we are getting more cores in the i7 series in terms of well, the efficiency core at least. That kind of helps you with the performance. At least the multi-core performance gets an uplift. So I might be, looking into the i7 series at least, because we might be seeing some decent uplift in performance.